Welcome to Our College Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. We are off to a busy and productive spring semester start, and that means it is time to check in once again on our initiative to move ourselves to a majority 8-week serving institution. I am excited to have our two statewide co-leads here with me today, Dr. Stacy Atkinson and Dr. Cory Clasemann-Ryan, to talk a little bit about where we are with that initiative and opportunities for you to still get involved. Cory and Stacy are frequent guests of the podcast, but I'm still going to have them introduce themselves. So Cory, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Kara. My name is Cory Clasemann-Ryan, and I serve as the Vice President for Student Success in Systems Office.
Thank you, Cory. Welcome. And Stacy, you have a new role with the college, I think, since your last time on the podcast. Can you tell us about that?
That happens to me a lot here at Ivy Tech. But yes. So hi everyone. I'm Stacy Atkinson. I serve as the Chancellor of the Richmond campus, formerly their Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, which was the last time you heard from me.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
We're excited to have you in that role. So let's talk just a little bit. Just before the semester started, the spring semester started, I sent out a summary email with some data in it. I take no credit for that. Cory does all the work. I just copy and paste into the emails exactly what he tells me to say. So Cory, can you give us a little bit of a roundup of just what we're seeing in the data right now about 8-week courses?
Yeah. So overall, we're excited to see that we've seen very positive trends, which we were hoping we would see based upon what we've seen at other institutions across the country going in, as well as in our own data going back when we had fewer 8-week courses. So we're excited to see we're continuing to see that trend continue. So when we look at all of our courses across the entire state, when we compare the 8-week modules to the 16-week versions, overall, we're seeing that passing rates in those 8-week courses are 6% higher, or 6 percentage points higher than we are seeing in 16-week courses. And then when we break it down to the gateway course level, so those are those 100 level courses that are very high volume, that tend to be those entry level courses for a lot of the programs. Every single one of them had higher passing rates in 8 weeks versus 16 weeks this semester, which has been fairly consistent. We've seen a little fluctuation in past semesters where there might be one or two courses that may have been down, but it seems to just be a blip, and the next semester it goes back up. So we've seen very positive trends, and it definitely continued this semester as well in the fall.
Good. And that's certainly a compliment to all of our faculty who are teaching and leading those courses, many of them with a lot of reservations about 8-week courses, yet they're still doing a wonderful job and our students are succeeding very well. Stacy, on campus, you were the VCAA when Richmond went as one of our leaders in 8-week courses. What are you seeing and what are you feeling on campus as an 8-week campus that's leaning in?
So the really great thing about the Richmond campus was that they took the initiative, they understood that it was a student success initiative, and they really sort of took it by the horns and wanted to work to move courses from 16 weeks to 8-week courses. What we did on the Richmond campus, we were very intentional about redesigning courses. So we knew that you couldn't just take a 16-week course and make it an 8-week course and offer it in 8-week courses. Instead, it was really intentional on the redesign of it. So because we did that, I think our success rates are showing a lot better. We started with moving programs as well. We're now sort of at 73%, we've sort of onesie, twosie moved courses, but we started by moving entire programs. We sort of took the lead from Dr. Deanna King and Tara Hode and their successes and what they were doing. We took lead from them. I think that it came down to faculty and it came down to their willingness to do it and then the actual action behind redesigning their courses.
So you two have co-led our statewide initiative around 8-week courses, which involves working with our campus champions. And we've said that this spring semester will be the last semester that we plan to have those campus champions in place. Can you tell us a little bit more about what those champions are doing here in this last year?
So the campus champions are selected by campus leadership, and they vary throughout the entire state. And the number of champions vary throughout C level. So C1s have 6 champions, 3 faculty, 3 staff. C2s have 4 champions, 2 faculty, 2 staff. And then the C3 campuses have 1 and 1. A lot of them change, their campus leadership after every single semester sort of regroup and decide if this is working, if this is not working, if this person wants to be an 8-week champion or not. But some have remained steady. On the Richmond campus, we've kept the same faculty and staff person since we started having campus champions. What they're doing varies also by campus level. It sort of depends on what their role is on campus. One of the things that Cory and I do is we try to gather them together once a semester, and we try to listen to what they are listening to on their campuses. We can't fix everything for 18 campuses, but we can hear them out. And if there's a statewide issue, we try to help them with that. The other thing that they're working on is a project plan, which we was an idea from the three of us in a room together. We sort of thought we can't do a statewide project plan, but we can do statewide concerns and document those. But we need to do a campus project plan. And we did that. And every single campus has submitted a project plan every single semester. We're on our third iteration of those right now. Cory and I are in the process of reviewing those right now and sort of offering some feedback. They look very different. Every single one of them looks very different. I would say the campus champions, their role and how the campus leadership is utilizing them varies on every single campus. As a statewide system and working with Cory and I, they bring up concerns, anything that's happening on their campus, anything that's a statewide issue, sort of the campus can't fix it, but Cory and I will bring it to the correct functional lead's attention. So we've been really fortunate to have them, and they know that they can reach out to us anytime.
I think one of the great things about the champions too is it's really been a way to involve those frontline faculty and staff who are dealing with students every day in the process and helping them take the leadership and ownership and working closely with their campus leadership to do it. I mean, we can't say enough that, this would not be as successful as it would have been without their involvement. Right. You can tell just talking to the chancellors and vice chancellors that they are very involved with their champions. Plus, they have to deal with Stacy and I every semester. So,
good luck.
I mean, that's worth a lot right there.
Right, I would say.
And so just the work that they have put in to help make this a success. Some of them were all in, some of them a little more skeptical, but were willing to be part of the process.
Right.
To watch their evolution over the last year and a half, I think has been very rewarding. I think it's kind of followed the trend we've seen as a college as well. So it's been great working with them.
Yeah. And it's been a great leadership development opportunity for a lot of those folks as well. I know as I've talked to some of them who've been involved, they've talked about that. Now we're recording this episode in January. We'll release it sometime later in January. We're recording it right at the beginning of the month. And I know that the two of you just locked yourselves in a room for a day and started looking over the campus plans. I know you're not complete with that work, but are there any trends you're seeing out of them this year of things either that are really great that you want to celebrate that all the campuses have done well, or things that you're going to ask for as we go into the final year's plan, probably the final year plan as we work to get to scale by fall of 2021? Any themes or thoughts?
The first thing that Cory and I learned is sort of logistical. We learned that one day is not enough time to go through 18 or 19 project plans, not if we want to give the robust feedback that we really are intending to do. We actually have split it from 2. We've moved to 3 days. So we have intentionally went to 6 per day. We've had 1 day of that here, and next week we'll meet for 2 days. I would say that professional development is something that surprises me every single time. And the ideas that come out of those project plans, Cory and I write very often in our feedback, oh, this is a great idea. We would love to take this to the state. We'd love, you're a pioneer and you are developing a best practice, and we would like to work with you in order to make that best practice. So professional development, I think, has come a long way in the 3. I think the area that we're struggling with, and I think it's because we don't know the answer, is the student support areas. This is more than an academic affairs initiative. This will touch the faculty and the students the most. But there are areas like advising, like DSS, like required advising, and other areas in the campus that definitely need some attention and they need some love. And they're gonna need some innovative strategies for how we deal with what might come up because of the other areas due to this increase in 8-week course offering. So I think we still have work to do in student support areas. And Cory and I, 6 in, are documenting all the gems that we find and things that we're going to send statewide. So it's a great opportunity for that as well.
And I think one of the challenges we're seeing with that is it seems like for some of it, it's staffing challenges of we need to be open different hours or later, or the testing centers have a fixed capacity, but we have more students coming in at different points throughout the semester. So trying to figure that out. I think one of the things that I'm already noticing is we're really seeing the semester by semester percentage targets now through when we kind of have targeted to be at full scale in fall of 2021 for where campuses want to go. And we went into it without, as a college, what do we want that target to be? We just want to be true to the initiative and say, let's do what we can and get to where we feel like it should be without knowing what that sweet spot is. And we're finding it's in like the 75 to 85% range for where campuses are kind of thinking we're going to go, which is kind of, I think, internally where we felt it was going to be. And we're seeing that. I think the other part that's a little daunting to me as a next step is campuses are submitting every single course what they plan to move to 8 weeks and which ones they feel like just aren't going to work well because of like clinicals for the number of hours they just can't get in, and figuring out as a statewide entity, which ones are we moving kind of, and which ones have we seemingly decided aren't. So trying to figure that part out now that we have all that information seems a little daunting.
Right.
But I think it's going to be a very critical next step to figure out kind of where the gaps are and where we go from here.
Good. Cory, you said something about like testing centers and their capacity. And I know you and I have been talking with the Bloomington campus that's got some media attention from local press there this week. And, so many of these problems, and one of the reasons why we went to individual campus plans was because this is a really locally focused initiative. And the solution for testing centers in Bloomington won't work in Kokomo, and the Kokomo solution won't work in Richmond. And so I think even as we sort of end the formal work of the campus champions, they still have a lot of work to do at the local level to figure out how to solve those problems.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be something with any initiative we should continue to learn and adapt as we go forward. I think that's part of a kind of a continuous quality improvement cycle. And so we've come a long way, but we're going to continue to learn as we move forward, even after this, even if we're at scale a year and a half from now as well.
Definitely. You have both talked about in the plans a little bit about professional development as well as about the student success areas of the college and how they need to be adapted. And I know that was the focus of the mini grants for this year. And I know mini grant applications are not coming in quite as quickly as we might want them to be.
Because we changed them. So
we did change them a little bit.
In the defense of Ivy Tech Community College's statewide system, we changed them dramatically. So I think we went from having a really big influx to Cory now being able to describe to you sort of what we changed them to be more intentional.
Yeah, we went to very much a campus approach this year. So we have two different opportunities. One of them is on faculty professional development, because we knew that a lot of the courses, based upon where we were percentage-wise, were being redesigned or had been redesigned, but an opportunity for faculty to be able to share with each other, as well as then focusing on how do we support the redesign of student support areas. And so each campus has the opportunity to apply for up to $2,000 for each one of those mini grants. And so we've split that up into 4 submission dates throughout the academic year, just because we had rolling deadlines last year and it was a little overwhelming to manage. I know at points
that's
it was
an understatement.
A lot. Yeah. So we still have 2 more coming up in the spring. We've probably had roughly about a quarter of the campuses have submitted thus far. So please speak with your champions if you have an idea and to see if your campus has submitted or not yet, because we still do have opportunities. I believe the next one is toward the end of February.
Yes.
So there's time to hit that one yet. And then the other one is a little later on, toward a little after spring break, if I remember correctly. So definitely talk to your champions if you have ideas, because we have the money there. We want to be able to spend it to support our faculty and staff. So please submit.
We are coming to the end of the sort of formal system level support. We'll ask for plans next year for 2021, but we won't necessarily have champions, I think. You guys and I haven't discussed that, but that's sort of my belief. They're learning as we go. They're learning as they go here, sitting across from me. Any other thoughts you have, having been the co-leads of this initiative since its inception, on what else we need to focus on as we move into from initiative to operationalizing 8-week courses?
I would say that I'm super proud of Ivy Tech. When we at the beginning set out and said we were going to move to 8-week courses, I remember sitting in Odessa, Texas and thinking, boy, this is going to go over terribly. And how in the world, I thought at the time as Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, how I was going to be received in Richmond. Right. There at the time there were 19 campuses, and I wondered what was going to happen times 18, but selfishly wondered what was going to happen to my 38 faculty at the time, plus adjuncts. And I am really proud of us as an institution because we battled all of that, and we kept at the forefront that this was a student success initiative and took it and ran with it. Some of the percentages that Cory and I see are like, man, I thought Terre Haute, I thought Richmond was moving fast. I thought Columbus was moving fast. And some of them have set out to move even beyond where we were. So I am super proud of Ivy Tech and super proud of the faculty that are redesigning courses and of the champions who have set out to make sure that the initiative went over better than we expected at the beginning. Because at the beginning, I did worry about this, which is why I sit here in front of you today. I thought I'm going to get involved and I'm going to figure out a way to make sure that we can support this from the very beginning. But I every time I look at those percentages, I'm super proud that people have moved as far as they have in the 3 years, for sure.
I agree. One of the other things I really like is we've had very open dialogue about this. We knew that there was a lot of skepticism, and there still is a lot of skepticism.
There still is, yes.
And we don't want to downplay that, but
Right.
I think as a college, tried really hard to have very open and honest dialogue about what's working and what's not, and where do we need to go, and what are the concerns. And so that's something we'll continue to work through. But I feel like, and I hope we've tried very hard to do that as a college. And so I think that's great. And I think going back to Student Success Initiative, it's not just about more students passing. We've also had fewer students withdraw.
That's right.
So both W grades as well as FWs, where the student just kind of walks away and quits attending, have both gone down multiple percentage points. And so we're seeing the effects of students are sticking with it because they can. It's a shorter duration. They're not getting burned out. And if life happens, they can continue to push through. And so we're just seeing a lot of the positive. There's still concerns to address, but we're moving in the right direction. And I think we should celebrate that.
Absolutely. And I can't help but editorialize in this episode. Sorry, you two. But, I helped students make schedules and get registered on Saturday here in the Indy campus. And it was so heartening to me when a student was like, oh no, I only want 8-week classes.
Right.
Yeah. And I said, well, you should have signed up earlier.
Right.
So that we made sure we got you in those.
Opportunity.
But
which 2 years ago, we were unsure that was ever going to happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
We didn't
And
know
so-
that students would embrace it the way that they did. And we worried about our students. We love our students and we love our faculty and we love our staff.
Right.
And we worried for everybody. And we worried especially for our students. And Odessa said to us, one of my favorite moments when we were there was, they're going to be okay, right? And I was like, no, they're my babies. What do you mean they're going to be okay? But the faculty looked at us and they were like, you got to get over this. They're going to be okay. And 2 years later, we can say that they are. So that's super exciting to me.
Yeah. And they don't all love it. And not all of our faculty love it. And like Cory said, we still listen to that. And that is important. So
I think the other thing is, I think one of the things we're still learning is how do we schedule? How do we create course schedules that are going to maximize student success as well as work for faculty as well in an 8-week format? And I think we've made a lot of progress over the last year and a half. We're still learning. And I think that'll be one of the longer term things that I think outlast this initiative even is how do we create the best course schedule for student success that we're still working through, but we'll get there.
That's right.
most definitely. So every episode ends with a call to action. And I think Cory stated it best when he said that if you are on a campus and you do not know what your professional development plans are or your student success grant plans are, make sure that you contact your campus champion. There are still 2 more deadline dates left this semester to get those grant proposals in. And again, those dollars are available to every campus. So if you've not used those yet, we really want you to do those. Thanks again for joining this episode of Our College, Your Voices. I want to thank Cory and Stacy for joining me today. It's always fun when we get to record together. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Don't forget, you can leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049. Again, that number is 317-572-5049. Don't forget, if you are an Ivy Tech faculty or staff member, you can join our Microsoft Teams listener community. Open up Microsoft Teams, go out to join a team, and then you'll see the listener community there in your set of teams. Our website is ivytech.edu/podcast. Production assistance for this and every episode is provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah Ferguson, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team. And our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music, recording, and post-production services provided by the incredible Jen Edds at the Brassy Broadcasting Company. And we will see you next time on Our College, Your Voices.